Okay, I am going to try to lead you through setting up Django through creating the first view. So this is going to take you all the way up through the first several assignments, and I will use Python Club to do this. So I'm going to have a few initial assumptions. One, that you have installed Postgres with pgadmin. Two, that you have Python installed and that you can use it. Python, by the way, needs to be at least 3.6 for a version. I'm assuming that you have Visual Studio Code installed. You do not have to use Visual Studio Code, but it's actually, I think, the easiest way to do this. So the step one is we're going to set up the database in Postgres. And unlike what the assignments require, we're going to create a special user for Django because it's a safer thing to do. So I already have pgadmin up. I am going to, and I have more databases and more servers than you do, and that's fine. But on databases, what you want to do is you want to right-click and you want to create a database. The database that I'm going to create will be Python. I'm going to do it all lowercase. Python Club DB. So this will be our database. I'm going to save it. So I'm having errors, and I know what the errors are. They're basically that I need to refresh. So I'm going to refresh. Or, failing that, I'm going to reload it. You'll see lots of, it gets updated like every day, but you don't have to do that. Alright, so I'm going to go down to the server 12, put in my password. And I'm going to, we'll close these up, and I'm going to start again. Create database, Python Club DB. I'm going to save that. It'll take it a second. Alright, so now I have Python Club DB. One of the things I'm going to do now is I am going to right-click on Python Club DB, and I am going to use a query tool. And I am going to create a role, and a role is like a user. And I'm going to call it Python Club, I don't know what I want to call it, Python Club user. Why not? It's going to be with password, and I'm just going to give it the standard password. Single quotes, not double. And I'm going to also give it a login. We're going to say that it can log in, semicolon. I'm going to run that. Okay. If we look down in roles now, we'll see that there's a Python Club user. Now I am going to grant all privileges on database Python Club DB to Python Club user. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm granting all the privileges for the database to the user that I've just created. Django basically needs all the privileges, but the advantage of this is that Python Club user will only have access to the Python Club database. It can't mess with your other databases or do anything else, unlike the Postgres user, which is the universal admin. So I am going to execute, and now I have got a user and I've got a login. Now what we're going to do is I am going to install the virtual machine, and I'm going to install Django. So I need the command line for this. Command prompt on Windows is better than PowerShell for most people. Now I, in Documents, created so let's do CD, which is change directory, to Documents. And I created a Django projects folder. See, there's that folder. If I do a dir to see what's in it, you'll see that there's really nothing in it. So what I'm going to do is say python -m venv. So we're going to set up the Python virtual machine, and I need to give it a name. It could be anything. It could be venv. I'm going to call it env01. If you're on a Mac or you're in Linux, this should be Python 3. So it is going to create the virtual machine. Okay, so it has done so. If I do a dir now, you'll see that there is an env01. Next, I want to activate the virtual machine, which I'm not sure I put here. So let's do this as a 2. Activate virtual machine. And the other thing I will put in there is for Macs or Unix, you want to do Python 3 source. Actually, you don't want to do that. You'll just want to do source env01 bin activate. All right, but that's not how we will do it on Windows. So I'm just going to there. Okay, so that's that. And then we'll change this to step 3. Okay, so I am going to I'm going to move that up so you can see it better. I am going to do env01 / because it's Windows, scripts instead of bin, activate. You know that it is activated because it has the env01 here. Now that we're inside of here, I am going to do pip install Django. And what it'll do is it'll collect and install Django. Shouldn't take very long. If you don't give it a version, it just brings the most current version. As I said, hopefully it won't take very long. And so usually takes less time on Macs and Unix. Okay, so it's successfully installed. It should come back to the thing. So it says that my pip is out of date, but it's not much out of date, so it's fine. Okay, so we have Django installed. Now what I want to do is create the project. So if we go back here, I'm going to create the project and create the application. To do this, the project, you do Django. Again, let me move that up so it's easier to see. Django-admin. Start project. And I'm going to use a really verbose name for this. I'm going to call it Python club project, and I'm going to press enter. Okay, now if I do a dir, you'll see that there is a Python club project there, as well as the env01. So what I want to do now is change directories to Python club project, and then I am going to do Python, and again on a Mac or Unix do Python 3 manage.py, and we are going to do start app, and what we want to start as, and I'm going to call it Python club app, which is a bit of a pain, but we will do that. Okay, so if I do a directory now, we'll see that there's a Python club app and a Python club project directory in there, as well as the manage.py. So we're actually all set up. We're ready to go. So what I am going to do next is go to GitHub and then set up a repository. So if we go back here, I'm going to create a repository. I'm going to use VS Code to clone the repository. I'm going to copy the folders we've just created into the repository, and then we'll add all of the files to Git. So first I'm going to go to GitHub. So I'm going to go to my GitHub, github.com/spconger. That's my repository. And am I logged in? I think I'm logged in, so I can start a new repository. I'm going to call it Python Club. It says it already exists, so let's call it Python Club 2. I'm going to just call it the example repository. I'm going to initialize with a README, and I'm going to create the repository. So we have the repository for Python Club 2. Now I'm going to bring up VS Code. So we want VS Code. I have VS Code on here. I don't want to go to the web. Real quickly. Looking for VS Code, which I know is on here. Did something happen to it? Huh. Because your code seems to be gone. That is really strange, because it was here a few days ago, but let's add it again. In a way, this is good. So I'm going to download for Windows. So VS Code will work on anything. It'll work on Windows, it'll work on Macs, it'll work on Unix. It's very lightweight, it doesn't take a lot of things, it's just and it'll do a lot of different languages. So I am going to do Visual Studio Code. This may mean that I have to do a couple of other things too, but that's alright. So I'm going to open it. I do accept. Next. Next. I do want a desktop icon. Install. Okay, I'm going to finish. Okay, so here it is. Going to Alright, so here's Visual Studio Code. It's interesting, it remembers my... So I'm going to open, or actually what I want to do is come down here, and I'm going to go to Command Palette, and I'm going to do Git clone. And it wants the repository name for what. Now, a couple of things about this. On Windows in particular, you may have to install Git. You can do that by going to git.com or git.org and download Git. You have to have the Git commands on your machine for this to work. So, I'm going to get the repository address for Python Club 2. And then I'm going to go back here. I'll put this here. And then I'll press enter. It asks me where I want to put it. So I really want to put it into Documents, Django, Projects. There they are. So I'm going to put it right here. And it says, would you like to open it? And I will say yes, do open it. Now there's nothing here but a README, right? So I am going to go here, and Python Club 2 is that. I am going to actually just drag Python Club into Python Club 2. So let's see if I can just... That's what I want to do, is just do this. Where is it open? Python Club project. I'm going to close my command. Well, I'm going to just do like this, come out. Let's see if that makes a difference. Yes, that's what it needed. So Python Club project is inside of here. Now, if I refresh, now I have Python Club project, I have the Python Club app, and I have the Python Club project. Everything is there. Now, one of the things that I want to do is I'm going to click this little 3 icon thing. It is for Git. And one of the things that I want to do is, I believe it's stage all changes. See, now they're all added. So they're all part of the project now. And we can, at this point, if we want, push this back up. So I could say push 2, and I'm going to click on that to add it, and it's going to ask me to log in. So I'm going to do sp conger, and I'm going to do my password. I don't know if it did it. So let's look at this. I don't think, let's refresh it. No, it didn't upload it yet. I think I need to, I might have to do that installation of the, or configure my Git. Oh, you know why? Because I need to commit first. I need to commit all. And I need to give it a commit message. So, first commit. Alright, so I've committed everything. Now I can push. Let's see if that did that. Yes. See, all my files are here now. The thing is, now I can push it whenever I want. And it'll be easier. It's really hard to get the files into GitHub if you try to just drag them in or do it later. So now Visual Studio will let me upload all of my files. So we have done, we created a repository, we cloned the repository, we copied a project folder into the clone repository, we added all the files to Git. The one thing I forgot to do here, which we probably should put in here, is commit the new files and then push to GitHub. Okay, so we did all of that. I will post this document, by the way. Probably in the blog. We'll see. Maybe I'll put it in Pages. Alright, so now what we need to do is we want to configure settings pi. And we need to do several things there. We need to add app to the registered apps. And we're going to do a decouple config, which I will need to add to. We're going to create an INI file. We're going to set up the database in the settings pi. We're going to set up the static files, which will allow you to have your own image folders and your own CSS. And I'm going to migrate these to the database. So I'm going to do settings.py right here. I will make this bigger. I'm going to close some of these. I might make that bigger that way. All right. So I am going to, now you might have to install Python extension if it's the very first time you've ever used this. It'll prompt you for that. Just say yes and just do it. So I am going to, I don't want PowerShell for this, but it looks like it might work. All right, I am going to, from decouple, import config. And it will tell me probably that that doesn't exist. I'm going to exit because I accidentally opened up the Python converter here. And I'm going to I don't want, okay, there we go. I want to do set up the environment down here. So I am going to do cd. We probably need to go back to now Django projects. So then I'm going to do env O1 scripts activate. Okay, and so we are active now. And I also think I want to do pip install Python, and I don't know if there's an underscore here. Or two words. So pip install, I'm going to try an underscore now, Python underscore decouple. Yeah, no, that's what it was. There was an underscore. Okay, so decouple is there. What decouple allows us to do is to create an INI, so we don't have to put the passwords in plain text inside of our settings file. So I'm going to do a couple of other things. I'm going to add our Python Club app. You have to add all of your installed apps. You can do django.contrib. But Python Club app is actually what is sufficient. I'm going to put a comma on that. Then we come down and we have the database, right? And we want to use a different database than the SQLite. We want to use Postgres. So I'm going to do this in a couple of stages. First I'm going to do it the way it would be in plain text, and I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to go to GitHub. I'm going to go to a different project. Just do the tech review Django. I'm going to do tech reviews, actually tech reviews settings.py, and I'm just going to steal this just because I don't feel like typing it right now. And then we'll go over it. So we go back to Visual Studio. I'm going to highlight from here to here. Alright, so this part, backends Postgres Psycho 2 is fine. We'll probably have to install that in a moment. The database is Python Club DB. The user is Python Club user. Password and localhost are the same. Actually, I do want to check my five four three four. So this is not the standard one, so I'm going to put that in there. Okay, so a couple of things about this. You can see how dangerous that could be. I mean, somebody that had access to the code has everything. They have the server name, the password, they have the port. I mean, it's everything you would need to hack it. So I'm going to do a couple of things. One of the first things I'm going to do is in the Python Club project, in the same place with the settings, I am going to do a new file, and it is going to be settings.ini. So it's going to be an ini file. At the very top of it, in square brackets, I am going to do settings. All right. And then I am going to do things like, so the engine we could probably leave, but I'm going to put one for the name of the database. So let's do DB name. These are basically constants, and we'll put values in here soon. I think it's equal. I'm going to do DB user, DB password, DB host, and DB port. I'm also going to do secret key. So let's do the secret key first. I'm going to go to settings pi. Let's go up just a little bit. And at the top you'll see that there's a secret key. So I am going to select that. Try to. I'm going to copy it. And then in the INI I'm going to do this. Now if there's any percent signs, which I seem to have escaped, actually, let me look at that key again. Settings INI, settings pi. How do you do that? Hopefully that key will be alright. Sometimes you have to escape certain characters. So what we're going to do is we're going to, in the settings.py, we are going to replace this key with config, and then in quotes the name of the constant. Okay. We're going to do this with the other things in the database too. So the name is Python Club DB. And the user equals Python Club user. And the password equals p@ssw0rd1, and the host equals localhost, and the port equals whatever it was, 5434. Alright, so in the settings pi then we can change this to config, and in the parentheses DB name, and I'm going to copy this. Control V, DB user. DB password. db host and db port. Alright, these may or may not work without some editing, but we'll see. I'm a little worried about the key because it had those characters. The way it was formatted looked wrong. Alright, so, and then we're going to, at the very bottom of this, we're going to add a couple of other things. Notice how it has static URL. I'm also going to add static _ root equals os dot path, actually probably lowercase path, dot join parentheses base _ directory, comma static and I think that's right. I may look real quickly again on another of these. So the fact that I'm looking at all these tells you that you can look at these without, actually it's not what I want. You're not going to memorize all of these things. So there's that. That's not what I want. Yeah, so that's fine. Okay. So let's go back. So we've got all of this set up. So I am going to, down here in the command line, cd, and if you don't have the command line, you can always get it by doing new terminal. So I'm going to change directories to my Python club. Probably need to go Python club. Let's see where we are. Oh, Python club 2, cd, Python club 2, cd, Python club projects. You need to be where, so if I do a directory here, you'll see that I need to be where the manage py is. This is going to be hard to see, but I'm going to do Python manage.py, and I'm going to try to migrate to the database. Now I may get errors. Oh, no, it did everything. It migrated just fine. You may have to, at this point, install the Postgres SQL Psychopop PG2. If you do have to install this, let's go back here. So I'm just going to put may have to install Psycho PG2. Okay, so if you do, the command is Python, actually just pip install PSYCOPG2-binary. Okay, so what did we do when we did this migrate? So let me show you again. Let's go back to PG admin. We have our database Python club. And if we look under schemas and public, and we look under tables, we should have, let's refresh. Huh, they're not there. Where did they go? It said that it migrated it. Oh, you know where it might have gone. I'm going to change one thing. I'm going to no, it should have come here. Let's try this one more time. Trying to think of why it didn't show up in the database, which is not what I want to do right now, because I'm thinking it might have shown up under no, there's no Python club here. There's no other where place it should have shown up. Let me look at the databases. Let's look at the INI. Python Club DB, Python Club user, password 1, localhost 5434. Secret key. I'm a little worried about the secret key settings because of that. I'm going to look at one thing and then we're going to ignore it and move forward. I'm going to ask for oh, I don't know if it'll have anything to say. So I think it worked. It just didn't pass the things off to the database, and I'm not sure why. Let's look at this real quickly. Because these are the operations that it's supposed to do. It just doesn't seem to have gone to the right place. So I'm not sure why that didn't migrate. It's not super crucial for what we're doing right now, but it will be. But I'm going to continue with what we were going to do. So the migrate kind of worked, but it didn't tell me why it was not there. So I will investigate that and return to it. But right now, let's do the include URLs. So I'm going to go to URLs in the settings. It tells you pretty much right here what to do. So I am going to, where it says path down here, I'm going to do comma and include. And we are going to do path. And we're going to give the name of our Python Club app. And we're going to do a comma. And we're going to do include. And we are going to do Python Club app URLs. Okay, so this is telling it where, if you want to see the URLs for Python Club app, go there to look for them. Now, if you notice over here in Python Club app, there are no URLs. So what I'm going to do is I am going to create a new file, and it will be urls.py. And I'm going to, from the urls.py here, I am going to copy this much. I'm going to go Control C, I'm going to paste those in. But I am going to delete those and delete that because we don't need it. And then I'm going to save this. I think I know why things didn't migrate properly. File, save all. I do not want that. I'm going to try to migrate one more time. Alright, so that gave me the errors, which is what I expected. Alright, so Python Psycho2 is not there. So I'm going to do pip install. Oh, my cap lock is on. Typing Psycho PG 2-binary. So another thing about this is make sure you save, otherwise it's not doing anything. Alright, so everything is saved. We did the pip, it's installed. Now if I try to migrate again, oh, I don't want to do that again. I want to migrate. And now it's applying all my migrations. And this time, when I look, so this is in Python Club. And when I look under tables, if I refresh, they're all there. So let it be a lesson. Always save your files. All the changes I'd made were unsaved, so it hadn't migrated properly. Okay, urls.py is not, and settings ini isn't. Now, typically you do not want settings ini to be included, but you will want the URLs py. So if I go here and I go to URLs py, so I'm going to do that one, stage changes, and it'll add it to the Git. Right, because we'll want to go back up to GitHub here in just a little bit. So we are down to the end of this, where we're going to create the first view. We're almost done with that. I mean, I've done several assignments here with you, really. So I'm going to go back to Files. We're going to go to Views. There's no view here. I don't want to do linter. Linter doesn't understand Django. So I am going to create a method, a function, and I'm going to call it index. And I'm going to do in a parentheses, and it's going to take in a request. The request is the web page that is asking to see this. This is going to be really simple. We're going to return response, return render rather, request, and we're going to comma, and we're going to give it a web page. Now, we'll have to create this in a moment, but I'm going to say Python club app index.html. Okay, this doesn't exist yet, but we're going to create it. Now, in the Python club app, I am going to create a new folder, and it's going to be called templates. It needs to be templates with an S and lowercase. Everything needs to be just like what I typed it. Inside of templates, I'm going to create a folder called Python Club App. All right, same name as the app. It's a little confusing, but that's what Django expects. If you don't do what Django expects, then you have to do some other pathing. But so it expects to find web pages inside a templates folder and inside of a folder with the name of the app. All right, so I'm going to save the view. I am going to go to this is also in Canvas, but I'm going to go steal a base file thing. So I'm going to go I think I'm going to go to the Tech Review Django. I'm going to go to Tech Reviews. I'm going to go to Reviews. I'm going to go into the Templates, Review, and then I'm going to get the base HTML folder. I'm going to do raw. I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to create in the templates folder a new file called base.html. And I'm going to paste this in here. Now I'm going to do some other things to this. So this let me walk through this. I'm going to wipe out all of these list items first. They don't exist in our project yet. So we get the doc type HTML. This is just a general HTML. It has a head. So let's make this Python Club for the title. What I am doing here is I'm just linking to Bootstrap. You don't have to do that. And you can add your own files, particularly if you do, and I think this goes above the HTML. I'm going to do %% and include static. Memory is not my friend. All right, so we go back and back and back. Load static. So we want to load the static. And that'll give you access to the static folder, which doesn't exist yet. So also on Python Club app, I will do a new folder called static. And that is where you would place all of your images and your own version of the CSS. But anyway, we have Bootstrap. In the body, we are using Bootstrap, the Jumbotron. I'll just call this Python Club. And this is gives us a menu. And you do them as LIs, list items inside of here. Again, I'm going to do this as Python Club. It's one of the problems with copying. All right, so that's there. I'm going to save it. Most important part about this, notice these, the ones with the curly braces and the percent signs tell you that you're doing Python. You're inserting Python script inside of there. And what we're doing is we're setting aside a place where all the content goes. This will be the structure of every page, and then the parts that we're adding will be inside the index, this block content. So inside of templates, inside of Python Club app, I'm going to add a new file. And this file will be index.html. Okay. And one of the things that we will do is we'll do the %, and we will do block content. Okay, so I am just going to do an H1, and we will say like welcome. And I will do an H1 to close that. This is just HTML. And then I'm just going to do a quick P, and I'm going to say something about Python Club. Python Club is the place to come for all your discussions about Python. Okay, and I'll close the P, and I'll put one more P here. Under construction. Okay, so this is, and we also need to close. So I'm going to say end block. I think that's right. If it's not, we will get our errors. So we now have our first view, right? And we have our base HTML, and we have an index that'll fit into that content area. We need one other thing. We need to provide a URL. So I'm going to do path and a parentheses, and we're going to say empty quotes. The only time you do that is for index. Oh, and we also need to import views. So I'm going to up here say from dot import views. Dot is the current directory, right? So down here I can do views dot, and it should give me index. If it doesn't, did we save this? I think so. Should give me index. Whatever. And we're going to say name equals index. The name is like an alias for it that you can use. And I'm going to put a comma there. Going to save this. And then we're going to see if we can make this run. So in the command line down here, I'm going to do Python manage py run server. If everything is good, you get this message. That's exactly what you want. So I'm going to go up here, going to do a new tab. I am going to do HTTP 127 .0.0.1 colon 8000 slash Python club app. And there it has it. Welcome. Python Club app is the place to come for all your discussions about Python under construction. What I'm not sure of is why it did not. Oh, I forgot something. We can fix that real quickly. I'm going to go to index, because it worked, but it didn't work entirely. One of the things I'm going to do up above here is I am going to say extends base.html. We'll save that, and we'll go back to our web page, and when there, that looks better. Okay, so that is done. That was quite an adventure, but I'm going to let it be done now.